We are live for another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC Baku, and it's a pretty good card. It's a fun card. It's a little trickier for betting than I expected it to be. When I was briefly glancing at it before I started taping it, I was like, I like some of these spots. And as I've taped it, I like less spots, but it's still a pretty good card. Definitely going to be fun to watch, and I think we can still find some good spots to bet on as well. I've only got one bet up so far, and as always, you can get my bets at the House of Stims Discord. Links in the description of this video. Talking too fast, and you can get it there. Just go to the description of the video, click that link, and you can sign up for House of Stims. That's where you get my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, and there's other cappers there as well who do a bunch of other sports. They're real good at basketball, baseball, all that good stuff. So make sure to check them out. And yeah, we're going to do a quick recap, as always, of last week, which didn't go super well, but could have been worse. And then we're going to jump into the card and we're going to start talking about it. So first off, happy Tuesday. Let's crack one open and then let's get started. We got some people in the chat already. We got Devontae Davis TV over here. What's up, brother? Sidlock, he's from the House of Stims Discord, I believe. We got Lucky Tim in the chat. What's up, Tim? Good to see you. Glenbot, my brother, thank you for tuning in. And all right, so Last week we ended up down 1 unit. If you're gonna take off, and then we had a lotto, and we had a same game parlay on Phil Rowe to win by knockout in under 2.5 rounds. And I forget what, there was one other part of it, and it was like a plus 1,800 same game parlay. And of course, he knocks him out in the third round, but after the under 2.5. So that sucked, but it is what it is. And the lotto lost. And then in terms of tracked plays, like I said, minus 0.99 units. So we're going to call it minus 1 unit. Lost all the money lines. So we had Petrosky, didn't look very good. Bad bet. Cody Garbrandt looked great in the first round. I was like, this was a good play. And then he just falls apart. Barcelos gets the win. And then Durden, plus 180 for a unit. Like, was it a good bet? Probably not. Probably not. He didn't do as great as I thought he would. He had a decent round 1. But it wasn't great. And then he just comes out there, hypes up the crowd and gets knocked out. But we did cash the over 1.5 in the Umar C. Alonzo Menafield fight. That was minus 140. We played it to win 1 unit. That was nice. It was a good hit. Ended up going all 15. And then we had a little parlay with Ricky Simone money line and the Chiesa Court McGee over 2.5. That came out for 1 unit at plus 101. So like I said, lost 1 unit on the night. Obviously, we always want to profit, but if I'm going to have a losing night, I'd prefer it to be like that, nice and small. So hopefully we can get back in the win column this week, though, and we'll pull up the fights. What's up, local man? Shakes fists. Good to see you. Cody's batting 0-3. Yeah, all 3 Cody's lost. If anybody did a fade the Cody's parlay, probably wasn't great odds because they were all underdogs, but you won. But all right, let's pull up the fights and let's get into UFC Baku. All right, that's that. Make it smaller. Make me bigger. And let's rock. We got 165 of you guys in here right now. I don't know how many of you are on YouTube, how many of you are on Twitter, but whichever platform you're on, if you just could like, subscribe, follow, comment, retweet, any of that, it all really helps. So if you like my content, please do that. That would be very helpful. And so we're going to try something fun this week. Okay, so first off, I wanted to preface the show with this. There's a few fights here where I have not gotten to tape yet. I'm going to tell you guys, as always, I'll tell you guys when we get to those. And it's just been a crazy week. It's my bachelor party this weekend. So, and we're leaving on Thursday, so I have to get everything done early. It's been very busy. Haven't had a ton of time, so I'm doing my best here. But we're going to try something fun because for my bachelor party, I want to give the guys a few parlays, so we can watch the fights and either lose together or cash together. That would be cool. And I thought it would be fun if maybe we put together a parlay, me and you guys in the chat. So we're going to try that out. What we're going to do is, I think we're going to wait till the end of the show. And at the end of the show, if you're still hanging here with me, you're still rocking with me, I'm going to ask you guys in the chat to throw out a couple legs. And then either I'll pick them, or if you guys say like 3 of you or 4 of you or 5 of you say the same leg, we'll go with that one. And we'll put together like a fun 3 or 4 legger. That could be a good time. So we'll see how that works out. And if it hits, I almost forgot about this part. If it hits, at somebody in the live chat, I'll do the same thing I promised to do last week. If a lotto hit, I'll put all you guys in a wheel. I'll let it randomly pick one of you, and then I'll give you 10% of the lotto, and then you can cash too. And all you got to do is write one comment in the live stream and help me pick a leg. But we'll do that at the end of the show. And thank you guys for the congratulations and the and the jokes over here. What's up, McMuffin? Good to see you in the chat. All right. Without further ado, we got Mohammed Usman versus Hamdy Abdelwahab. Usman, he's going to be 10-4-0. He's 36 years old, 6'2" with a 79-inch reach. Hamdy 4-0, undefeated, with only 4 pro fights, though. He's 32, so he's going to be 4 years younger. He's going to be the same height, but he's going to be at a 6-inch reach disadvantage. I'm not really interested in this fight all that much because I just don't see either guy separating. I don't. Hamdy, the judges love him. They keep him in these areas, the Middle East. I don't think Azerbaijan's in the Middle East, but it's nearby. They keep him in these areas. The judges love him, and he keeps getting these really close decisions. I didn't even think he necessarily beat Jamal Pogues. It's just a greasy fight, and I think this is going to be a greasy fight. Usman is solid. He can wrestle. He's got solid takedown defense. He's a decent enough striker, but he's relatively low output. He's pretty hittable. He does have power. Dude clearly hits pretty hard. He's not really knocking a lot of guys out, but he's got power, definitely. And he's a solid, well-rounded heavyweight. He's on the older side. At heavyweight, that doesn't matter as much. But I'm just not really crazy about him, even as an underdog. Like, is Hamdy that much better than him anywhere that he should be even minus 160? Like, this is a pick'em fight. I think we can all agree that this is probably a pick'em fight. Hamdy, a better pure wrestler, sure. I don't think you can really dispute that, at least outside of MMA. Inside of MMA, probably still the better wrestler. Maybe not the better grappler, but wrestler, yes. Probably grappler as well. By grappler, I mean also jiu-jitsu and whatnot. But I just don't think he's really that much better anywhere else. And I don't think he's going to easily take down Usman. Certainly don't think he's going to have an easy time out striking Usman. Because, again, Usman's not some kind of elite striker, but Hamdy is not a very good striker either. He's also relatively low output. He's also pretty hittable. So, again, to me, this is 50-50. For a pick, like, I'm going to pick Hamdy simply because the judges favor him, and I see this as 50-50. But I can't blame people playing the underdog. It makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense to play Usman because, as I keep repeating, this is a pick'em fight. And it makes sense. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to lose money on a split decision that I know is going to be close, that I know is probably neither guy's going to separate. I don't see Usman separating. If he wins, I think it's 29-28. I would be fairly surprised if it was a 30-27. And I feel the same way about Hamdy. So because of that, I don't really want to get involved. Maybe if Usman was like plus 180, plus 200, I would have to pull out my odds converter. Maybe then. But at this line now, I know some of my sharp friends played Usman. I don't really have a ton of interest at plus 140. I don't. This is a fight that's on my retape list. If you're new to watching me, something I like to do is I'll tape fights, but then sometimes I feel like I don't have the freshest mind, or maybe I just want to look at it again, and I have a little list and I put fights that I want to look back at. So this is one of them. Again, this is a busy week for me, so I don't know how much time I'm going to have to retape, but this is one of the fights I want to look at again. Maybe eventually get to an Usman play if the line comes back up, but I am pretty happy to pass. I'm going to pick Hamdy for the sole reason, as I said before. It's a close fight, and he just gets these close fights, so that's why I'm going to pick him. But in terms of betting, you guys come here, most of you come here for betting. It's dog or pass, clear dog or pass, Usman or pass. Let's catch up, and then let's move on. He's talking about the Usman Hamdy fight. Yeah, it's a mess. Usman the dog. People love the play. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad play. At least pre-flop, I don't think it's a bad play. I certainly understand the logic. As I said, I don't want to do it. Glenbot, Hamdy can't. I mean, hey, how many did Vanessa Demopoulos win in a row? 3. So technically, he's got at least one more in him. Former football player for Usman. That's true. Dravi, what's up, Dravi? Make sure you guys are checking out my guy Dravi. He's on a major hot streak right now. My guy's doing very, very well. I'm doing well, but he's doing even better. So make sure you check out my guy. Sharp fella. He's saying the jab for Usman should be money. Gunbot saying Usman round 3 decision. Huh. That could be a better way to play him, but it's just like, it's so tricky because he does hit hard. Would I fall out of my seat if he knocked out Hamdy in the first or second round? No, I wouldn't. But yeah, that's probably a nice way to play him. They'll probably, what's Usman decision? So his money line's plus 140. His decision's plus 265. Nice. Huh. That's not bad. Maybe that's a lotto leg. You guys know I like my decision lottos. I just like them. I don't like picking finishes. I'd rather pick like where I think they're going to win a decision. That could be something though. And then, so if it's plus 265 on the decision, I'm going to guess that they're going to open round 3 decision at like plus 150 on DK. That's going to be my guess. Oh, no, that doesn't make sense. His money line's plus 140. Maybe plus 175, something like that. So might not be worth it, honestly. Depends what they open it at. Cal Machado in the house. That's me. That's me. What's up, Dixon? You tail my NBA plays or Cal Machado's? Because I don't think either of us give out NBA plays. But anyways, moving on. We've got Tagir Ulanbekov versus Azat Maksum. Tagir, he's going to be 16-2-0, 33 years old, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. And on the other side, Maksum, 15-1-0. He's going to be 30 years old, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach. So I was pretty high on Maksum when he entered the UFC. I did back him at chalk against Charles Johnson, and that hurt. But that was a while ago. That was, what, over a year ago, almost a year and a half. Maksum now 30. He was still in his 20s back then. This one's, look, in terms of a pick, who do I think is going to win this fight more often than not? If you run it 100 times, I think it's going to be Tagir. I do think Tagir probably wins this fight just based off of the fact that, A, he's competed at a much higher level for a much longer time. B, he's clearly got a grappling advantage here. If Charles Johnson is taking you down, if Charles Johnson is putting you in tricky submission spots, Tagir can probably do that too. And I'm pretty confident that he can. And he's a solid striker. It's not like he's deficient in the striking and he absolutely needs takedowns. He can strike too. So for those reasons, he's clearly the rightful favorite. But this line's pretty wide. This line's pretty wide. Plus minus 450 on Tagir, plus 350 on Maksum on Bet Online. And like, look, on the feet, I did say Tagir is very good, but Azat is a good striker too. Like, Azat's a good striker. He's got a lot of power. He's explosive. He puts together nice combinations. His output is pretty good. Knocked Charles Johnson down in the first, I believe it was the first round. He's a good striker. I don't think he's going to be outmatched on the feet. I don't. I think on the feet, it's going to be very close. And I actually give the power advantage to Maksum. To me, it just seems like he hits harder. I think he's the harder hitter out of the two of them. And I think he's more likely. I don't really think he's going to knock out Tagir, but if a knockout happens, I think it's on his side. And I think that if anybody's landing big shots and stealing rounds with moments, I think it's him. So, and like his grappling's not horrible either. You know, it's not great. But I also don't think it's terrible. Like, his scrambling's not bad. He also, I think part of the Charles Johnson thing, like he kind of gassed out. I think maybe that could have been because he was going for that finish in the first round. So maybe part of the grappling deficiency is related to cardio. Again, that could still be a problem. Tagir's got good cardio, but I don't think his grappling's terrible. And I do think he can keep this on the feet to a certain extent. And I think it's possible that he keeps it on the feet enough to win the fight. So I'm going to pick Tagir. But I'm strongly considering a play on Azat. I might get there. Once again, if you want my bets, my notes, and my breakdowns, you can only get those at the House of Stims. The link is in the description of this video. And if I get to a Maksum play, that's where you're going to find out. I am considering it, but for now, I am going to pick Tagir, and we're going to go by decision. I think he can sub Maksum, but I'm going to lean towards a decision. Next up, we've got Irina Alekseeva versus Klaudia Sygula. Irina, she's 5'2" 34 years old, 5'8" with a 66-inch reach, and she's been out for a while. I believe she popped or something, a year and 8 months. On the other side, Klaudia Sygula, 5'2" as well. 6'2". She's going to be 26, so she's 8 years younger. She's going to be the same height, and she's going to be at a 7-inch reach disadvantage. So I backed Sygula against Melissa Dixon when she made her UFC debut. I backed her at decent plus money, I think around this price. And okay, one sec, guys. I'm like dying of heat, and I'm going to turn on my air conditioner. Okay, so Sygula, you know, I backed her going into the last fight against Melissa Dixon Mullins. And my thought process there was that she's not that bad. And on the feet, maybe she can beat Mullins as long as she can keep it there. But man, she did not look very good. Her striking's okay. It doesn't seem bad. She does seem really hittable, though. But her grappling looks really, really poor. Her takedown defense doesn't seem very good. Once she's on her back, she really, really struggles. And I mean, look, she's very young. I think in the Mullins fight, that was over a year ago too. No, it wasn't. So she was what? She was 25. I think she's very young. So there's definitely room for improvement. It's entirely possible that within the next year or two, we see that, oh, she does have good takedown defense now. Oh, look, she can get up. But as of now, it does seem to me that she really struggles on the ground. And I don't think her striking is really enough to kind of make up for it, you know? And on the Alekseeva side, is she a great striker? No, she kind of swings wild. She does seem to hit relatively hard. I think she's going to hit harder out of the two of them. She's going to have a significant reach advantage. Not that she's really the kind of person to pop a jab, and then, strike you at range and land her shots and avoid the shots coming her way. But I think she's going to land bigger than Sygula will. Her wrestling also isn't all that amazing, but I do think she can get takedowns. And I think on the ground, she's going to be far more dangerous, far more live for a submission. All that said, do I want to get involved on Alekseeva with this long layoff at chalk? No, I do not. But I don't think I'm going to be getting to a Sygula play either. This is just a mess of a fight. Relatively low-level fight. Could be exciting. Could be fun. I do think we're going to get a finish here, probably on the Alekseeva side. But I don't think I want to get involved with my money one way or the other. The unders aren't priced well enough. The unders on the women's MMA fights this card are not good. They're like all, I think two of them are favored to go under, and one of them is like close. And it makes sense. It does make sense, but I'm not playing like plus 130 on the under here. There's no chance. I'm going to go Alekseeva sub. I don't know. Let's call it round 2. Just a guess. But I think like if you're going to prop shop, like if you really want to prop on this fight, if I had to do something, I don't hate Alekseeva by knockout. I don't hate that. Plus 900 on Bet Online. You're probably going to get it like plus 1,000 on domestics. I don't know that I'm going to play it. But that's something I am looking at. I do lean towards a sub, though, as my guy over here is pointing it out. We got somebody over here. This stream is a yawn fest. Boring stream. You know, you can just, like, click out and go to another stream. It's a thing you can do. Or you can hang here and give me the watch time, because that helps, and I actually get money. Well, actually, I don't, because I don't give you guys ads for the live stream. But you can hang out here. It'll still help my analytics. So thank you for that. Let's see what else we got in the chat. Let's see. Oh, you've been going for a while. You'll never be guru. I certainly don't want to be guru. I respect his success. He's a grinder, but I'm happy not to be him. Let's see. Okay. Irina out. Yeah, she's been out for a while. I'm pretty sure it's because she popped. My guy here is thinking Klaudia dog play. I mean, I can get it, like not wanting to, like maybe wanting to fade Alekseeva, but I need to see Sygula improve before I put any more money on her, because I've already lost money on her once. McMuffin, dude, get an AC. I'm a person, I have no tolerance for heat whatsoever. I need an air conditioner or I go crazy. Glenn Bot liking the under 2.5. And yeah, the TKO, I think that's live. I also, honestly, like Irina might be able to catch her standing. She hits pretty hard. She swings wild. Wouldn't be that crazy. My guy over here, MMA Kasanganu, saying Sygula's reach on UFC stats is 69. Okay, so according to UFC, she actually has the reach advantage. And that makes some more sense. The whole 59-inch reach at 5'8" doesn't make a ton of sense. Let's see. Haymaker saying one-sided fight. Are the judges being paid by the bookies? Went to law. You should know this. Dude, I can promise you with 100% certainty that at law school, we are not taught whether judges are paid off by bookies or not. That I can tell you. I don't think they are, but it's entirely possible one or two judges here and there is, maybe. Andrew, first time catching the stream. Thank you for tuning in, Andrew. I hope you like it here. What's good, Max? Thank you for tuning in as well. Thank you for the kind words. You ain't making any money, bro. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to make some more money. That would be cool. I don't mind. I really don't mind. I get so many haters. I'm probably one of the more hated people in the space, and I've gotten used to it. At the end of the day, they're still watching the video, so I get their view, and then this guy's just chilling here commenting, so that helps analytics. And then the watch time really helps, because then I get shown to more people. So the haters help just as much as the fans do. So I don't mind. I didn't say that. I said I don't want to be him. would love to be as successful as him. Different things. Maybe not both. One of them, I'd think about it. Again, guys, thank you all for supporting me and having my back, but I really don't mind. It's totally fine. Anyways, let's move on. Let's get back to business, yes? Next up, we've got another women's fight. This is a rematch. We got Darya Zheleznyakova versus Melissa Mullins. Darya, she's going to be 9-2-0, 29 years old, 5'9" with a 68-inch reach. Mullins 7-1-0, 33. She's 4 years older. She's going to be 2 inches shorter, and she's going to have the same reach. So if you guys aren't familiar with their first fight, what happened was Darya was beating the daylights out of her on the feet, wasn't even close, essentially almost had her out of there. And then Mullins gets on top, and Darya has no idea what to do, and Mullins gets her out of there. And I think it was in the first round, too. I don't think it says the round yet, but I'm pretty sure it was in round 1. And since then, look, not much has changed. Mullins has had success in the grappling in the UFC. The striking isn't bad. It's pretty basic, pretty meat and potatoes, but she can put together decent combinations, and she's got some decent pop to her punch. But we did see her get knocked out against Nora Cornell, so she can be hurt. She can be caught. And like I said, Darya literally hurt her and caught her in their first fight. So I think she is live. Once again, she's probably live to hurt Melissa. She is the younger woman. She's probably a little bit more likely to be improving. And it is certainly dogger pass for me at this line. I have no intention of betting Mullins at chalk. And again, just a lot more upside on Darya. If she can keep it on the feet, she's certainly the better striker. She certainly hits harder. The output is going to be quite a bit better, in my opinion. But the concern is the grappling. I backed her against Aileen Perez. I think it was like plus 200. I went 2 units in. I was like, look, if she can just stuff these takedowns, and I didn't rate Perez's ground game all that much at the time, I was like, she can handle this. And if she gets taken down, she can get back up. That's not how it went at all. She got cooked on the ground, had no answer. So as of now, I have to go with what I've seen and what I know. So pre-flop, I do think that Mullins is going to be the pick. I think she wins this fight more often than not. But if I was to get involved with my money, if you made me make a bet, it's dog or pass for me. I don't want to back Mullins when I think that the finishing upside, at least on the feet, is with Darya. Again, Mullins can do it on the ground like she did in their first fight, but rematches rarely. Sometimes they do. Fluffy Hernandez and Brendan Allen is one example. Sometimes rematches do go very similar to the first one, but oftentimes they don't. So I don't know that Mullins is going to have the same exact success, but I guess now that I'm saying it, she also has finishing upside. It would just be on the ground. But either way, for me, it's dog or pass. I don't think I'm going to get to a play. I'll pick Mullins by decision, but it is dog or pass for me. Let's catch up with the chat, and then we'll keep going. I'm irritating him so bad he's still chilling here. It's crazy. Good stuff. Darya, dog play. I'm thinking about it, but I don't really want to. Peace, bro. Let's see. Darya, decision would be a sneaky contrarian. Now you're speaking my language, Glenn Bob. Now you're speaking my language. Let's see what that is. It's scary. It's scary because her ground game doesn't seem to have gotten all that much better. She's also getting taken down by what's her name? Rendon. Not great. Decision's plus 400, which actually isn't as good as I thought it would be. I guess because it's women's MMA, so they don't want to chalk it up. I mean, they don't want to give it to you too nice, but let's see what the domestics give us. I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. Haymaker saying Mullins, pretty please. I'm assuming you have a bet on her. So if you do, good luck. Yeah, I'm not dying to make the play. Not dying. And listen to Haymaker. Smash the like button. Would be much appreciated, and it really, really helps the channel. All right, moving on. We got a fight that I looked extensively into because I really wanted to make a play, but I ended up not doing it, and I don't think I will unless there's significant line movement. But we've got Ismael Naurdiev versus Jung Park. Naurdiev, 24-7-0, 28 years old, 6 feet tall with a 74-inch reach. Park, 18-6-0, 34. He's going to be 6 years older, going to be 2 inches shorter, and he's going to be at a 1-inch reach disadvantage. So I went into this fight really wanting to back Naurdiev just because, to me, I've never been much of a Park guy. I recognize that he's good. I'll talk about what he's good at in a second. He's definitely got some strengths, But I've never been super high on him. I think when he doesn't get a finish, he's not all that impressive. And the guys he's getting finishes over, to me, it doesn't mean much. Like, okay, you finished the Gazduraev, good for you. You finished Joseph Holmes, that means 0 to me. You finished Denis Tiyulin, again, that means 0 to me. So I just never really rated the guy, but I also have to respect his skills. But that's why I was interested in Naurdiev, because you have a younger guy who got his first UFC stint. If you guys aren't familiar, he was in the UFC early on in his career. He was 22 years old, so it was 6 years ago, and he didn't do all that good. He had the UFC debut against Michel Prazeres, won that fight, and that's a tricky matchup. And then he lost 2 in a row. I believe it was Chance who beat him. Actually, not in a row. He lost to Chance. He beat, I forget the fella's name, low-level dude. And then he lost to Sean Brady, got cut, win the regionals, and he actually lost another couple times. He lost to Vadim Kutsi, a guy we saw lose on the Contender Series to, who's that guy who beat him? I don't remember off the top of my head, but anybody who watched Dana White's Contender Series knows who I'm talking about. And he also lost to Marcin Bandel, who's a guy in, is it KSW or Octagon? Marcin Bandel. He's pretty good. He's a regional guy. Very experienced dude on the older side of things. Oh, actually, neither. It was in Brave. But either way, Bandel finished him. It was an armbar, but he hurt him first. And then Kutsi also hurt him and knocked him out. So the chin, clearly an issue, clearly a concern. He's been hurt multiple times in other fights as well. And then with Park, honestly, I'm not sold on his chin either. Like he got hurt against Brad Tavares. He got knocked down against Brad, if I'm not mistaken. He got knocked out by Gregory Rodriguez, who does hit really hard, though. And to be fair, he had Gregory on death's door. If you guys haven't seen that fight, at least watch that finishing round because it was so sick. Park literally was about to knock out Gregory Rodriguez. Greg's back against the fence, and then Greg lands a big shot. Park gets hurt, starts going backwards, and then Greg runs forward, knocks him out. It was a crazy, crazy sequence. But I'm not sold on Park's chin these days either. That's my point. And with Naurdiev, he looked good. He looked good against Bruno Silva, and I tried to fade him there. I actually backed Bruno at like plus 200-ish, maybe plus 185, something in that range. And my thought process was Naurdiev is getting hurt on the regionals still. You know, it doesn't seem like he's improved tremendously. And he was really inactive. You know, he was only fighting like once a year, I think, before his UFC return. So he returned, it was 7 months ago. Before that, a year and 6. So he wasn't the most active guy. But so that's why I faded him. I thought, you know, Bruno, maybe he can pull this off. And Bruno just looked terrible. The problem is, it's very hard to really get an understanding of how much Naurdiev has improved. Because on one hand, yeah, he did look good against Bruno. The cardio looked a lot better. He took the big shots. His striking was on point, was able to mix in the grappling really nicely. And there was a time where he was the one being grappled. He looked good. And overall, just a great performance. But then you remember that Bruno Silva is washed. He's done. I mean, he retired now. But in that fight, he was already washed. I believe he had an interview or something, or his coach did. I don't remember exactly which one, where they said, like, I think it was him, where he said he just wasn't into it at all. He didn't want to be there. And that's what it looked like. So on one hand, you have a younger guy in Naurdiev who does show some upside, who does seem to be improving. But we don't know how much he's improved, because outside of the regional fights where he's lost over 2 years ago, we just have this one against Tahar Hadbi, who's not a good fighter at all. Finished him very quickly. And then we have the fight against Bruno Silva, who's washed. So I don't know how much he's improved. With Park's a really good boxer. He is very hittable. I have that problem with him, but he's a great boxer. I think the striking's going to be close, but Park's better, probably a little bit better with the hands. Naurdiev probably has a bit more to offer with the kicks, but Park's going to throw a lot more. That I believe in. I think his output is higher. And Park's just going to bring the pressure. He brings the pace, the pressure, and that's how he beats guys. He breaks them. He's not necessarily leagues and leagues better than these guys skill-wise, but he has the cardio, he has the pace, he has the heart, and he's got that dog in him. So he brings it, he breaks people, finishes them late, or gets the decision. That's the good stuff about him. The reason I kind of want to fade him is what I said before. I don't think he separates all that much. I don't think he's the most skilled guy. I think he's pretty hittable. And I can 100% see Naurdiev actually, you know, having improved even since his last fight against Bruno and winning this. So for me, long story short, it's dog or pass. I am strongly considering a Naurdiev play, but I think I'm going to need it to go higher. I don't think I can do it at this line because I think Park at around this line seems accurate. To me, it makes sense because I do think he can get takedowns maybe later in the fight once Naurdiev is more tired. I think he's going to throw more, and his cardio is just better. I think the cardio dynamic really leans towards Park, and I think it's enough to cover this price where we're at now. So I'm going to pick Park by decision, but in terms of betting, it is going to be dog or pass for me. Let's see what we got in the chat. Glenbot, you hit on Alonso decision. That was a good move. I was kicking myself. I was like, first of all, how did I not play the money line? How did I not even look at the decision? Like, those are plays I would 100% make, and I didn't even look at them. So props to you. That was a great hit. Yeah, Park doesn't do it for me either. He never did. He never did, to be fair. Gwenbot saying Ismael Park under 2.5. Both have finishing upside. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. My gut leans towards the over, but I could see it. Bro's at his hometown. Judges. No, he's not. Naurdiev's not from Azerbaijan. He's from Morocco. And I know he has a Russian name and all that, but I don't think he's from Azerbaijan. I don't. I guess from that region, maybe, but not Azerbaijan. Devontae Davis TV saying, I trust Park. He just gets it done. He does. He does just get it done. That's why I'm not running to back him. I'm not running to fade him at plus 165. I need a little bit better. Ismael debuted again in the UFC against Bruno, so maybe underperformed. I don't think so. I don't think he had jitters. Like he's done it before. He came back and he looked good. You know, I don't really have anything to point at and be like, oh, he had the jitters. He looked good. It's possible he looked good because Bruno's just washed. Anyways, moving on. We've got Seokhyeon Ko versus Oban Elliot. Ko, he's going to be 11-2-0. He's 31 years old, 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. On the other side, Oban Elliot, 12-2-0, 27. He's going to be 4 years younger, 2 inches taller, and he's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. So if you guys don't know, both of these guys were supposed to fight on a previous card. Ko was supposed to fight Billy Goff. He was the underdog there as well. And Oban Elliot was about a similar sized favorite against Ramiz Brahima. And both guys couldn't make it due to visa issues. So they put them on this card, and now we get this fight. And honestly, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it because, I got to hit Ramiz against Billy Goff at like plus 315 or something. And that was nice. Saved my night that day. I still lost that night, but saved me from disaster. And now we get this fight, which I think is a pretty fun fight. So, look, Oban Elliot, the rightful favorite again. I said earlier in the show when I started, I haven't gotten to tape all the fights. This is one of the ones that I have not gotten to tape yet. So just putting that out there. I'm going to tape it probably tonight or tomorrow. And if I make a bet, once again, you can only get my bets, my notes, my breakdowns at the House of Stims Discord. Link in the description of this video. Make sure to check that out. It's me doing the MMA capping, but there's a few other cappers who do other sports, and they're real good at it. So make sure to check that out. And if I do end up making a play on this fight, once I tape it, once I get my notes done, that's where you're going to find all that. But pre-tape, it's dog or pass for me. Oban Elliot is a great fighter, very talented. He's the more experienced guy here against better competition. He only has one more pro fight than Ko, but he's just fought the much better guys. I know that everyone's hard on the Cage Warrior guys. They say they're bad. They say that Cage Warriors isn't what it used to be. I disagree. Honestly, I know there's been some busts out of Cage Warriors, but how about Ian Gary? How about Paddy Pimblett? Like, there's still some good guys coming out of there. Paul Hughes, not in the UFC, but he's certainly good. So I'm not ready to throw away all Cage Warrior guys and say they suck, but while Oban Elliot has fought the better competition, he does have the 3 UFC wins. I just don't think he can be a minus 500. It's really that simple. Like, yes, he's probably the better striker by a little bit here. He's the one who has the wrestling upside, I think. But I just don't think he separates enough to be minus 500. I don't think Ko is bad enough to make Oban minus 500 here. Maybe Oban can be minus 500 against like a Val Woodburn, but he got hurt in that fight too. So I don't know that he should be a massive favorite over Ko. Ko hasn't had the best competition. He's fought some really low-level guys. On the Contender Series, he fought that guy Igor Cavalcanti, the guy who the UFC really wanted because he was getting all these early finishes, but who's never been tested. So I actually did bet Ko at a similar number there. That was an easier play to make because Cavalcanti had all of those questions, right? He was this big, scary looking guy, but he was a round one or bust guy. So it was a lot easier to make that click. Oban's not round one or bust. Like he's legit. He has the cardio. So I'm not ready to say like, oh, he has bad cardio or anything like that. There's no clear angle like there was there. But I mean, my angle is that I just think the line's wide. Like, I don't think he's that much better on the feet. I think that Ko is a solid striker in his own right, clean, nice combos, keeps it straight. You don't really see him throwing wild, and the output is solid. And he's relatively well-rounded. I don't have a ton of info on his takedown defense against Igor. I don't remember off the top of my head. Let's go back and look. So against Igor did land a takedown. He shot 2 of them, only got 1 of them. Couldn't really control Ko, though. So, again, I got a tape, but takedown defense seems okay, right? And he was able to get back up. Igor couldn't really control him. That much I remember. But, again, Oban probably going to be a little bit better, more experienced, more seasoned. So maybe he will have more wrestling success. But I just think the line's wide. I think this is a fight that Ko could steal with big moments on the feet. I think that his striking is comparable, close to Oban's. And once again, I just don't think Oban separates that much. And my evidence of that is look at the Basil Hafez fight. I think that Oban was up in that fight. I did not think that he was losing it before he got the finish. But the judges did. At least one judge did. I don't. Let me actually pull it up because I'm curious. Oban Elliot versus Basil Hafez scorecards. Okay, so one judge had Hafez up 2-0, and the other 2 judges had it 1-1 going into the third, right? So that's my issue. In my opinion, Elliot was up. I actually, like, off of what I was seeing, I thought Elliot was up 2-0. Judges didn't think that way. One of them even had him down 2-0, and it's because he doesn't separate. I think that Ko can seal this fight. I need to tape a bit. I need to tape it, really go into it. But it is dog or pass for me. I know for a fact, even after I tape, there's 0 chance I'm going to parlay Elliot or do anything like that. If I do anything, it's going to be a Ko play, Ko money line. There's no reason to get cute with it. He's plus 400. And yeah, we can move on. Maybe Elliot by decision. I don't know. I'll have to tape it. I saw it's plus 110. I don't hate that. I don't think Elliot's some kind of crazy finisher. Actually, before I put it away, let's catch up with the chat, and then we'll go and move back up. Let's see. All right, next up, let's see what the chat says. Oban KO next, unfortunately. Okay. Oban sub round 2-3. Okay. Goff will be good in 6 years. Wrestle and grapple and boxing. Goff is just going to be an exciting fighter. I don't think he's going to be a champion, but he's fun. He's fun. No reason to tape Ko. Keeps his chin up. That I remember. I remember the defense not being great. Elliot win, get the W. Makes sense. Hard to get a strong read on Ko due to the level of comp. Yeah, that I agree with. Let's see what else. Decision or round 1 for 60 seconds. Londo, what's up, Londo? Baku is 100 miles away from Tehran. Got a bad feeling the UFC cancels the event on Saturday and we're all screwed. I've been hearing a lot about that. I don't know enough. I don't know enough to really speak on it, but I hope it doesn't happen. Let's see. What's up, Gabriella69? Good to see you in here. Londo, can the UFC... Okay, let's see what else. He was to fight Goff, and Goff sucks. Tough fight to call. I don't think Goff sucks. He has some very clear holes in his game, but I don't think he sucks. I think people also just hate Ramiz, and because Ramiz beat him, now they're like, oh, Goff is a bum. It just means we'll get a good line on him, possibly. Any chance? Okay. Why do I keep pulling up the same? Okay. Enough about those comments. All right. Moving on. We've got Mohammed Naimov versus Bogdan Grad. Naimov 12-3-0. He's going to be 30 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. On the other side, Grad 15-2-0. He's 29, so he's 1 year younger, going to be 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have the same reach. So I've been taping this one, and it was one of the first ones that caught my eye. It's clearly grad or pass for me. I haven't made a play yet. Like I said before, if you want my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, when I make them, I post them the second I bet them on the House of Stims Discord. Link is in the description of this video. But as of now, I haven't made a bet. but I am leaning real hard to the dog side. I've never been a Naimov believer. Never. I believe I faded him on the Contender Series when he fought Colin Anglin. How long ago was that? That was a while ago, 2020. So he lost that fight. And Colin was actually, if I'm not mixing him up, Colin, he got the contract and he was like, you know what? I don't think I'm ready. I'm going to go take some time, get some more wins on the regionals, and then come to the UFC. And then he just started losing. Colin was 7-8-1 after that fight. Now he's 10-6-0 and never made it to the UFC. Kind of not the best decision there, but I see where he was coming from. But anyways, Naimov lost that fight, did not look very good, and he was a big favorite if I remember right. Yeah, minus 325. And then he had like 3 fights on the regionals, 4 fights on the regionals, went 3-1, and then came back to the UFC, and he's been doing pretty well, I guess. I remember I bet him against Malarkey, but he was like plus 400 on short notice, and he was losing. He was handedly losing to Malarkey. That was up at 155, though, to be fair to him, and he is a 145er. But still, he was losing that fight, landed the big shot, cashed me the ticket, but I didn't feel great about it. And then against Wood, I think I bet Wood, and if you guys haven't seen that fight, if you want to see some cheating in MMA, go look at that fight. Naimov cheated at every single chance he had. Any cheat you could think of, he did it. And he won the fight. Judges rewarded him for it. Not a single point was taken. And you know what? If you're not cheating, you're not trying. So good for him. And if you're backing him and he's cheating, that's a good thing. Unless he gets disqualified, but almost never happens. So could be a good thing. But to me, I never rated him too much. And Nathaniel Wood also, as skilled as I think he is, I still maintain that he's too small for 145. And then Eric Silva, like you can't take anything from that fight at all. Eric Silva's leg like got caught in like the back of like the little gap in the fence. And I remember there were some people, one person in particular, who were saying Naimov was a lock going into that fight. He was like minus 500. They were parlaying him all over the place. And then when he wins, they're like, told you. And I was like, oh, you knew that Eric Silva was going to break his leg? Good to know. And then loses to Felipe Lima. To be fair, Lima is really, really good. I believe in him very strongly, and his fight against Peyton Talbot is going to be sick. But Lima was also on short notice, up a weight class, and I know that Naimov was up on the scorecards, but he still lost. He lost to a guy down a weight class on short notice. Yes, he's good. Still happened. And then the Con Olfley fight, like he beat him. I don't really rate Con Olfley these days. Learned my lesson there. I backed Con Olfley against Myron Santos, and that went poorly for me. But long story short, I just don't rate Naimov. I don't think he's that good. I don't think his striking is good. I think he wins big shots. He's got a solid amount of power, but I don't think he's a great striker. I think his output is low. And I think he's just a fine wrestler. He's fine. He's not amazing. He's okay. He's got decent control, and he can beat certain levels of guys, but I don't rate him very highly. And then Bogdan Grad, is he the most skilled guy in the world? No, but he brings the fight. He brings the fight. He's got that dog in him. He's jacked. He's a walking mini refrigerator of a man. Hits hard. I think he's a better striker than Naimov because I really don't like Naimov striking or output. Grad will throw more. Grad will hit harder, in my opinion, and I think he's a better striker. And Grad can wrestle too, and it's not like Naimov has some kind of elite takedown defense. Naimov can be taken down too. So I think Bogdan can take him down. I think Bogdan can outstrike him. I think Bogdan can win minutes. I think Bogdan can get a finish. I know that Naimov is very, very durable, but it's MMA, and I'm not counting it out. I lean towards is going to a decision. So if you don't want to pick a side, I actually don't hate that look either, and it's one that I've been considering. It's currently at plus 105. I don't hate that at all because I really do think this goes all three. But the only reason I'm hesitant is because if I play Grad, I don't want to double dip because if someone gets a finish, I think it's going to be Grad. I don't think it's going to be Naimov, and because of that, I don't want to double dip on the over because then let's say I bet the over and I bet Grad, and then the over loses, but Grad cashes. I gave away half the profits. I don't want to do that. You can put it in the opposite, and then if the over hits and Grad loses, at least I break even. But I don't want to take that risk. We'll see what happens. If I make the Grad play, it'll be just Grad. If I don't, maybe it'll be that over or the fight goes. But once again, you can only get my bets, my notes, my breakdowns at the House of Stims Discord. So make sure to check that out. And we can move on. But I am going to go with Grad, and I'm actually picking him by decision, and that's probably going to be my lotto parlay leg for when we come up with that. If you missed that part of the show, we're already on the main card. So if you're only tuning in now, if you tuned in later, you weren't here in the beginning, what we're going to do is, so it's my bachelor party this weekend. I'm going to be watching the fights with my friends, and I want to give them all some bets, mostly some parlays, so we can either cash big or lose trying. And I decided it would be fun if we put one together, me and the stream. So at the end of the stream, I'm going to give one leg, probably going to be Grod by decision. And then you guys are going to give me a bunch of legs. We're going to pick them out. Easiest way to do it will be if you guys agree on the legs. If not, I'll pick and choose some that you guys suggest. We'll put something together. And then if that lotto hits, I'm going to put all your names one time each. If you commented in the live stream, I'll put your name in a wheel. We're going to do the wheel spin. I'll record it so no one thinks I had a favorite. And then that person will get a 10% stake, 10% stake of what the parlay was. So let's say the lotto parlay is $10 to win 1,000, and we hit. I'll give you $100 if you win the wheel spin. So make sure to stick around and help me come up with that parlay. Could be fun. Let's see what we got going on in the chat, and then we're gonna move on. All right, Bogdan is your lock of the week. I wouldn't go as far as to call him a lock of the week, but I do like him. Naimov decision or grad KO? Neither. How about that one? Naimov decision in a fight that looks like it should finish in every round. Those are my favorite kinds of overs. If you guys know me and you know my show, those are the overs I like to target, where literally everybody thinks it's going to go under. When you watch the fight, it looks like it's going to go under, but it goes over. I like those spots. Naimov, tough fight to call. His back hair stash wins. Is that him? He does have a lot of back hair, if that's what you're asking. Daz saying, what's up, Daz? I think this is the first time you're in here today. What's up, Daz? Grad, meh. Yeah, I mean, he's not Alexander Volkanovski. He's not super skilled, but he's solid. I think he's a very solid fighter. And he's tough, and he's got the grit, and he's got that dog in him. And sometimes that's all you need. Hometown guys win. He's definitely not a hometown guy. He's from Tajikistan. It's not Azerbaijan. Very different. And I actually looked into this today because I kind of expected this from you guys. Not you in particular, Haymaker. I just kind of expected somebody to bring this up. So I looked up if there's like any beef between Tajikistan and Azerbaijan. They seem friendly enough, but it's not his hometown. That much I can say. I don't know what your problem with Naimov striking is. His boxing and kicks are very technical, and so is movement. Good clinching, too. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I have just like maybe I just decided I didn't like him and couldn't get away from it. I don't know. I just don't like it. When I look at his striking, I just don't see a guy that I'm like, yeah, I need to back this dude at minus 240. Like, I have to do that. I don't see that. If this was Pick'em or Naimov was the underdog, we'd be having a different conversation, but he's not. All right, let's see. Daz thinks Naimov's better everywhere. That's fair. It's a fair opinion. Good job, Couch. Hope it doesn't go like Jubilee Night Party. Jubilee Night Party. I'm not sure what that means. Naimov decision for Haymaker. Fair enough. Missed the YouTube memo. Catch up laters. All right, Daz. All right, moving on. We've got Nazim Sadykhov versus Nikolas Motta. Sadykhov, 10-1-1, 31 years old, 5'10" with a 69-inch reach. Motta, 15-5-0. He's going to be 32. He's 1 year older. He's going to be 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have a 1.5-inch reach advantage. So, speaking of hometown guys, here we have one. We got Nazim Sadykhov. He is an Azerbaijani guy fighting in Azerbaijan, and I believe, yeah, so he's going to be the first ever guy fighter from Azerbaijan fighting there. So that's really cool. And then Motta on the other side. Did I go over his stuff? Yeah, I did. So this fight, I don't want to waste too much time on it because like Sadykhov is the rightful favorite. Fighting at home, younger guy. I think he's more durable. I think they both hit really hard, but I like his striking a little bit more, and he's probably a little bit more well-rounded. If somebody's going to land takedowns, it's going to be him. He's not really a wrestler. He's more of a striker, but it is something that he can mix into his game, and he is training with really good guys. He's at Syndicate. It's very close with Aljo and Marab, so you know he's getting good looks there. And Motta's not bad either. Like, Motta gets underrated a lot because he's been knocked out quite a few times. I backed him against Mashate at good plus money. That was a nice bet. That felt good. but I'm not really dying to do it against Nazim. Like, I can admit that this line is definitely wide. I've never been like a crazy Nazim guy. Oftentimes when he's winning fights, he's fighting back, you know, like he's losing, and then he wins. Like Evan Elder, that was one of the most frustrating things in my life because I had, I think, 2 units on Elder or 1. He was like plus 200, and Elder was cruising to a win. And then he got like a really bad cut, and they called the fight. And then against Bonfim, he was losing, got that finish. It was a little funky. Against Borshev, really, really close to losing that fight as well. Very close fight. So he's not really like ever coming out there and just sparking people, or like, I mean, he kind of sparked Bonfim, I guess, but like he's not really separating. He's not really acting like somebody you would want to back at minus 400, fighting like somebody you want to back at minus 400. But like I said, I do think skill for skill, he's the better guy probably everywhere. In terms of power, they're close, but I think he's more durable, and he's fighting at home. So I don't want to fade him with Motta. Not the guy I would fade him with, and not the time I want to fade him, even though the line, I will admit that the line is wide. I just not a spot that I'm interested in. I will pick Sadykhov. Let's go KO. Motta's pretty tough, though. When was the last time he got knocked out? That was here, right? Yeah. And Torres is a tough dude. Yeah, we're going to go Sadykhov decision. How about that one? What are the odds there? 250. That's not a bad lotto leg right there. I don't hate that one at all. Let me catch up with the chat, and then we'll move on again. Let's see. I may sprinkle Motta. He always shocks the world. Yeah, I mean, he got the upset with Tom Nolan, right? He was a really big underdog there, and then he beat Maashate. So, yeah, he's been doing good as an underdog, but just not really the spot I want to target. Don't get the boxing love personally. It's MMA. What are you talking about, Daz? Is there a world where Nazim brawls looking for a finish and gets... Hell yeah. Yeah, he can crack him. I definitely think he can crack him. I think Nazim's really durable, so I don't think he gets knocked out. But Motta hits really hard, and Nazim's striking defense isn't all that good. So, yeah, it's 100% possible. But like Daz is saying, I think he's really tough. And thanks, Haymaker. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys watching. We got 639 of you guys watching right now. So please, if you're watching on Twitter, like, comment, retweet, follow me. Any of those things helps a lot, and it's going to take you like 30 seconds. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment if you haven't already. Again, it really, really helps the channel. And we're growing. We're starting to get more views. We're starting to get more subscribers. And something that's really cool, where I think we're 60,000 views away from 1 million views on the channel, which is pretty cool and pretty exciting. So thank you guys all, and hopefully we can keep it going. Sadykhov KO 2 or 3. I could see it. He's a guy who works into it. I can see it. How many fights do we have left? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Next up, we've got 2 guys that I like a lot. So I'm kind of bummed that I have to pick one to lose. But here we've got Myktybek, Orolbai versus Tafik Musayev. Orolbai 13-2-1, 27 years old, 5'10" with a 74-inch reach. Musayev 22, 5-0, 35. So he's going to be 8 years older, going to be the same height, and he's at a 2-inch reach disadvantage. So I taped this one today, and I went pretty deep in it. I spent more than I like to spend on a fight. Sometimes that happens to me. I'll get stuck on a fight, and I just don't want to click off. I want to keep looking, want to figure it out. And like, look, from a betting perspective, it is dog or pass. And I am targeting possibly a play on Musayev, but I need a better line. I'll explain why. So with Orolbai, he's a guy who, when he started his career, he was at 155. Then he went up to 170 for a while. And he did very, very well there. Went into LFA, continued to do well. And then he gets signed by the UFC to fight Uros Medic on short notice. Tough matchup on short notice. He was still the favorite, though, because of the wrestling and because he's a pretty good prospect. And he wins that fight, takes down Medic, I think, 7 times, gets the submission, I believe, in round 2. And then after that, he had it was Elvis Brenner, right? Yeah, then he had the Elvis Brenner fight. Relatively competitive, but Orolbai clearly won. And then he had the fight with Rebecki. So I had Rebecki there. I backed him. at solid plus money. It was like, I want to say like plus 250-ish, something around there. And that was an awesome fight. First of all, I actually picked that as my fight of the year last year because it was sick. If you haven't watched it yet, watch it. It's so much fun. Just complete violence. Orolbai's eye is like blown up after the first round, but he still fights. And like, so with Orolbai, he's a very good wrestler. That's his strongest thing, right? He's a very strong grappler, very nice entries. He's fast when he shoots. His control isn't the best. Oftentimes you'll see, like, when you see a guy with like 7 takedowns in a fight, right, against Medic, that's only it was like 1.5 rounds. That usually means that, yeah, they're a good wrestler, but their control isn't all that good. And with Orolbai, we've kind of seen that in the UFC. His control isn't all that good, but he does have the cardio to keep going for it, keep getting the takedown. And he's a good chain wrestler. He can re-wrestle when he doesn't get it off the first attempt. So those are all really good things. So despite the control not being the best, he's still a very good grappler. He can take the back. He's got nice submissions, a good rear naked choke. And he's not deficient on the feet either. He's a good striker. He's well-rounded overall because he's a good striker on top of the good grappling. He's got a good jab, good straight right, solid combinations. He had a clean uppercut knockout in the LFA, which was real nice. The kicks are decent, but he's very, very hittable. The counters are there. Rebecca was able to land really, like, not even like clean shots. Like they landed clean, but they weren't like straight down the pipe. They were kind of winging shots. And then against Brenner was popping him with I think it was the right hook he was landing the left hook. But anytime Orolbai was entering, it was right there. The left hook was right there. And if Musayev's good at anything, it's his counters. The counters are nasty. So that could be a problem. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But one other good thing I want to talk about with Orolbai and why I'm very hesitant to get to a Musayev play is Orolbai's got that dog in him. His cardio's phenomenal. And you watch that fight with Rebecca, there's not a lot of fighters who get an eye like that and like blown up like that in the first round, and then not only make it all 3 rounds, but actually win the next round. He won the second round, and then have a very competitive third. That takes guts. That takes having that dog in you, and Orolbai has it, and he'll bring it, and he won't quit on himself. So all that with the wrestling upside, it's tough to go against him. And with Musayev, he's making his UFC debut. Don't love that. He's 35 years old. Don't love that. And, you know, the guy's coming from PFL/Bellator. PFL, what was I calling it? PFL-ator? I don't even remember anymore. But, you know, they haven't been doing super hot. They haven't been doing super great. Other than, like, MVP, he's been doing great. So there's that concern. But he's really good. Musayev's really good. If you're not super familiar with regional MMA, if you've never seen him fight, he's a very good fighter. And, you know, it's easy to tell this week. It's easy to tell who doesn't watch like regional MMA, because I've heard several people this week go like talk about the Roberto de Souza loss. They're like, yeah, Musayev got subbed on the regionals by some random guy with a triangle. Triangles don't work at high level MMA, so that's a bad look. Do me a favor and look up who Roberto de Souza is and look up his grappling. That dude is an elite jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's a really, really slick grappler on the ground. He's submitting very high-level guys over there in Risen, and getting subbed by him is not it happens. It's okay. And in that fight, you know, Roberto shot. He had a decent entry, and Musayev did everything right. He stuffed it. He had I think it was an overhook he had in. He was able to get him off of him. He ended up on top, and that was kind of the mistake, is he kind of just stayed there, and then that's when the Souza threw up the triangle and finished the fight. It was early in the first. But overall, like, part of the issue is that we don't have a ton of info on his takedown defense. We've seen it a little bit, right? In the Roberto de Souza fight, there was a little bit of it. In this one, Akira Okada shot like once or twice, but he's very low level and he's like 38 years old. And then Outlaw's a good wrestler, but he knocked him out way before he had a chance to shoot. And then there was a fight against Patricio Pitbull's brother, who's not the best. And at this point, he's completely washed. But back then, it was what, like 3-4 years ago? Yeah, like over 4 years ago. He wasn't washed yet, and he's a solid fighter, Patricio. And Musayev did win that fight. But what kind of bugged me was that was like one of the only examples I have of Musayev on his back. And when Patricio put him on his back, he ended up getting up eventually. But the first thing he did was accept full guard, wrap his legs, and just stay there. And he was there for like, I think 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. He was stuck on his back. I don't like that. What I want to see is I want to see you hit the ground with your back and then immediately start pushing off with your legs, doing everything you can to get off of your feet. So that's a concern. And my other concern with Musayev is the cardio. I don't necessarily think he has bad cardio, but I just think in this particular matchup, the dynamic here with the pace and the cardio, I think he's going to struggle a little bit, and I think he's going to lose round 3 at a really high clip. Now, with the striking, he in my opinion, he's clearly the better striker. Like, very clearly. I think he hits a lot harder. I think he's significantly faster. His kicks are nasty. He's got really good leg kicks, really nice body kicks. The teeps are nice, good head kicks. He mixes it well into his combos. He's very, very slick with his combinations. You don't really see him swinging crazy. He knows when to throw, and he's just nasty with it. He's got a nasty right hand. All his counters are just super smooth, super clean. And like I mentioned earlier, Orolbai, even though he's good on the feet, he's very hittable, and he's not hard to counter. And I do think that when Orolbai is when he's entering the pocket or entering boxing range, I think Musayev's very live to clip him. I think Musayev is the one who has the knockout upside here. I think Musayev is the one who's live to win a damage-based decision. If he can bank the first 2 rounds, I think he can win moments with his striking. So I think he can win this fight. I think he can knock out Orolbai, or I think he can win by a decision. I just need a better price because, like I said, I think he's going to lose the 3rd round at a very high clip. And I worry about the wrestling from Orolbai because I do rate Orolbai's grappling, wrestling. Overall, I love Orolbai. I think he's a very good fighter. I think at 27 years old, he still has a lot of time to improve, and I think his ceiling is very high. Whereas for Musayev, it's now or never. He's 35 years old. If he's going to make a run, it has to be right now. So, yeah. So, for those reasons, I'm going to pick Orolbai to win. I think he does it by decision. I actually don't hate the number on that either at plus 200. I was kind of looking at that also. But for me, it's dog or pass, and I do have a lot of interest on Musayev. I just think he's very, very dangerous, and I think he's being a little bit overlooked because, like me, everybody likes Orolbai. He's a fun dude, and Musayev's 35, and people just aren't super hype about him because they don't really know him. They don't know his competition. They look at the regional guys. They're like, oh, these guys suck. He's beaten nobodies, which isn't true, but that's what they think. And that's why we have the line we have. But I think it's going to continue to get wider. As of now, I think it's close to where it should be. I think it's already a little bit wide, but I need a little bit more to get involved. And now let's catch up with the chat, and then we're going to move on. Let's see. Listen to Glenbot. If you haven't already, make sure you listen to Glenbot and hop on over to YouTube. If you're watching on X, come watch on YouTube. I don't know. That was the first time I ever called it X. I don't like calling it that. If you're watching on Twitter, come hop on YouTube. Give me some likes on YouTube. That would help. Some views on YouTube, some comments. And like I said earlier, if you want to cash in on that, on the possibility of getting the 10% of the lotto parlay, you got to leave at least one comment in the live stream. So make sure to do that. And also, I'm pretty sure you guys can comment off of Twitter, but nobody ever does that. Orolbai got the easiest button to hit this Saturday. He is very hittable. I'll say that. Orolbai killed versus Robia. I'm going to assume you mean Rebecca. Thank you, Daz. We'll keep growing. We'll keep going. Orolbai 4-1 sub seems low. I get it. I just don't really think he's in a sub Musayev. He will win unless judges are hometown. That's another thing to consider. You know, I don't really believe in hometown cooking all that much, but I can't say that it doesn't happen. I've seen some situations where I firmly believe it did happen, so it's possible. Let's see what else. I think Orolbai should build as this fight goes. Yeah, that's my concern, and that's why I need a better number to get involved on Musayev. Well, it's good, Henry. Henry's a funny character. Good to see you, Henry, in the chat. Musayev has some violent ground and pound. Yeah, but he's got to get on top for that. And I mean, look, like Orolbai's been taken down. He doesn't necessarily have the best takedown defense. Brenner took him down. Rebecca took him down. But like that's something else I wanted to say. Rebecca was a much easier play for me to get to because I felt that Rebecca can match him in the grappling, and he was like plus 250. Whereas Musayev, I don't think that he can match him in the grappling, and I'm pretty dependent on him beating him in the striking. So I need at least a similar number to what I got on Rebecca. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. over 1.5 sneaky play. I think the number's crap. Let me check. Yeah, no, hell no. Minus 230. Like, you don't want to do that when one of the guys' upside is probably under 1.5, right? Like, if Musayev is going to look phenomenal, it's probably because he knocked out Orolbai in the first or early second round. So because of that, like, I don't love the over 1.5 at minus 230. Although I do think this fight goes a distance. I do. I think Musayev can finish, but I lean towards it going off all three. So yeah, I don't know about the over 1.5. It's a long layoff for me for Tofik. How long has it been since the last one? Oh yeah, it's been a while. And Rebecca is not Tofik. That I can tell you. I don't think that's what people are thinking. At least not the people who know who Tofik is. Like, we all know he's very different from Rebecca, but he still has a way to win this fight, you know? But we can move on. Next up, we've got a fight that's been booked and rebooked. I think this is the third time. We got Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. Blaydes 18-5-0, 34 years old, 6'4" with an 80-inch reach. Kuniev 13-2-1. He's 32. He's 2 years younger. Going to be the same height, and he's going to have a 4-inch reach disadvantage. So at the beginning of the show, I said I haven't been able to tape all the fights, and I have not been able to tape this one. But lucky enough, this has been booked twice before, so I have taped this fight just for previous cards. So I remember some stuff. I need to go back and look for some other things. But for now, here's what I can say. So when this fight was initially booked, I was all over Blaydes. I was like, this is a mismatch. I don't get why the UFC is doing this. Don't really know why they're throwing Kuniev to Blaydes. Kuniev has not fought anyone of Blaydes' caliber. Blaydes is clearly the better striker in my eyes, and he's a really good wrestler, and we haven't really seen him out-grappled by anybody. I know that Jonathan Almeida was able to take him down and control him against the fence, but that's the thing. He took him down many, many times. How many times was Blaydes actually on his back? I think it was 0. He was able to pop back up every single time, kept his back to the fence, and Almeida would drag him down, and Blaydes would pop back up. Almeida would drag him down, and Blaydes would pop back up. So because of that, when this fight was originally booked, I was like, this is clearly Blaydes, 100%. But now I'm starting to get a little sussed out because it fell through once, right? And then they rebooked it, which was a little weird because I didn't know why they booked it in the first place. And it just didn't make a ton of sense, but that's okay. You know, sometimes fights fall apart and for no apparent reason, they're rebooked. Fine. But then it gets canceled again and they rebook it again and they do it for Azerbaijan. Now, Kuniev is Russian. He's not from Azerbaijan. Very close, but he's not from there. But to me, it feels like they've been rebooking him and trying to put him in a place where, you know, he's maybe a little bit more comfortable. And it appears to me that they continue to rebook this because they maybe think they have something with Kuniev. Because right now the heavyweight division is completely stalled out because John Jones is the worst and just is being the worst. And then Dana is just allowing him to be the worst in hopes that he can convince John to fight again, which he's not. And I know some people are saying, oh, it's all an act, that they're going to fight in November or December. And it's possible. But if this is all a promotional act that they're doing to get us excited, it's certainly not working because I lost all interest. And I don't even really want to see Jones versus Aspinall anymore. I don't really care. I rather Aspinall fight other people and Jones just goes to do his own thing. Because I don't blame Jones for not wanting to fight. Why would he? No one's making him. He's getting to keep the title. And he gets to just hang out and chill and do fun things. So I don't blame him. But I just want him out. But the heavyweight division is stalled. Blaydes has already lost to Aspinall. And I think they want fresh guys. And I think they firmly believe that Kuniev can win. Because if they didn't, why would they rebook it? To give Blaydes an easy win? There's way easier fights that they can give Blaydes an easy win. It wouldn't make a ton of sense to give him a debutant. Because if Blaydes beats Kuniev, what does that do for Blaydes? Is anybody going to be like, yeah, Blaydes got a sick win? No. People are going to say Blaydes beat a regional bum from the PFL. That's what people are going to say. So it's not going to do anything for him. So I don't think the UFC is trying to build him with Kuniev. They could have just given him someone else, like give him like Martin Budai or something. So I don't think they're trying to build him up. I think they see a hole with Curtis Blaydes. They think he's a little bit chinny. They think he can be taken down, which it appears he can. He's just hard to hold down. So they're trying to give him Kuniev, and they think Kuniev can win. That's my little tinfoil hat moment, my theory. Now, am I going to bet based off of that theory? No. but it's a data point I want to think about and consider, at least in my analysis. And then, thinking about it, Kuniev's not a bad striker. He's a decent boxer. He doesn't have much in terms of kicks, and he's a little bit slow. Blades is going to be faster. Blades is going to be rangier. Blades is a very good jab, a really clean 1-2. And that's some of my favorite striking. Like, if you have the range for it, the reach for it, and you got a little bit of power, a jab and a 1-2 is almost all you need sometimes. If you can just do that against guys who don't have the best striking or the best striking defense, that'll work. The meat and potatoes, that works sometimes if you're good at the meat and potatoes. If you got a good jab, you got a good 1-2. And he does. He's a very good striker. He came into the UFC as a wrestler, as a grappler, and a phenomenal one at that. But he's developed his game. And, some people will argue he fell in love with his striking, which I guess you can make that argument. But he's very well-rounded. So I do think he's the better striker. But I can see him being hurt. Like I said, do I think Kuniev's got the hands or the speed that Aspinall does? No. Do I think he necessarily hits as hard as Derek Lewis? No. But I think Blades can be hurt, and Kuniev does carry some decent power. He's a very strong guy, physical guy. I think he could possibly beat Blades in the clinch. I think that's important to think about. I think he maybe hold the Blades up against the fence, land some shots, separate, land some shots, go back into the clinch, throw some little clinch shots, and keep doing that. Maybe try to go for a takedown here and there. So I'm starting to think that Kuniev is live. I am starting to think he's live, and I'm starting to consider a play. But like I said, this is one of the fights that I need to really still tape and go into. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I'm going to stick with my original pick. I'm going to stick with Curtis Blades for all the reasons I originally said. Better striker, also has wrestling upside. I don't believe he's going to be easy to hold down, and he's just fought at a much, much higher level. But my gut feeling is telling me that something's off here. There's a reason they keep rebooking this, and Kuniev's not bad either. He's a solid wrestler. He's got some solid wins outside of the UFC on the regionals, and he's got a good skill set. He's just not the most impressive to me, but he's a good fighter in his own right. So it's going to be dog or pass. I don't want to play Blades at chalk, not with all these circumstances, not with his chin, but I do think he's going to win, and I think it's going to be by decision. Have I picked a decision for every single fight? Oh, boy. Well, that's not good. Oh, I picked sub here. Everything else is... Well, for the fans that are watching live, I hope I'm not right about all the decision picks. Let me go back here while we go through the chat, and then we'll move on again. Let's see. As many times as this has been rebooked, yeah, I think it's really, really sus. Yep. I agree with all this stuff. Of course I need to tape it. You know how many times I thought to myself, I don't need to tape this, and I just made a bet pre-tape years ago when I first started this? So many times. It's not good. It's good to tape. Now, sometimes you can overthink. That's a whole nother story, but I think taping's good, important. Fight doesn't go the distance. I don't agree. I think it's going to go. Not that I want to bet on it, but I think it's going to go. Daz got 2 units on Kuniev. Hopes the sucks Blades turns up. I think he's saying the Blades is inconsistent. I know how to translate Daz. Costa fight gone from the card. I think I think you mean next week, right? Because I think Costa was supposed to fight on 317. I think maybe they'll add what's the fight? Because Imavov and Barallo, they've been chirping at each other. And then Imavov just said that he's no longer the replacement for the possible replacement for the championship bout with DDP and Hamzat. So they're going to make that fight, I think. And maybe that's what's going to be on 317, but I don't know. That's just a guess. It is in shambles, and it's because of 2 men and 2 men only. Fight goes to decision or Blades easily wins. Okay. Curtis got dropped by a jab and then right hand hit air against Aspinall. Kind of wonder if it's totally cracked. It's possible. It is possible. Kuniev's just so slow. UFC likes to embarrass PFL guys. They want Blades to murk the newbie. I don't believe that. Because these guys aren't cheap. Kuniev is. Kuniev actually is because they signed him through Contender Series. So I think through Contender Series, you can only get the 12 and 12. So actually, he's very cheap. And I guess they could throw him away and just let him lose and cut him, but it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Why would they rebook it? There's way easier fights. I just don't know why they would rebook it. Max Carlson, I think this is your first time in here today. Max, good to see you. It's gonna make this a bloody fight, I think. It could be. It could also be a snoozer, though. I think that's a possibility as well. Another thing as well, when Curtis has pressure, he loses, but when it's no pressure, he kills him. I mean, Almeida was pressuring him and had him back against the fence for an entire round, and then he caught Almeida. And I'm almost positive it was that uppercut. It was a little uppercut when Almeida was shooting. I'm almost positive that's what it was. Blades probably wins, but yeah, I'm starting to agree with you, Daz. I am. What's up, Dogfather? Always likes to call me son. When really, he might be my son. He's older than me, but I was the first one to bring him onto an MMA show. So, just saying. All right, next up, we got our co-main event, and it's going to be a banger. We got Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Fiziev, 32 years old, 5'8", with a 71.5-inch reach. Bahamondes on the other side, 17-5-0. He's 27, so he's 5 years younger. He's going to be, I hate math. Okay, so 4 gets us to 6 feet. This is literally how I do math in my head. 4 gets us to 6 feet, and another 3 gets us to 6'3". So Bahamondes is 7 inches taller, and he's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. So I did tape this one, but I'm not done. It's on my list to retape, and I don't feel confident. Like, I don't even feel confident making a pick and putting it in here. Because on one hand, I understand why people are really loving Bahamondes as a play. He's way bigger. He's the one who's on a win streak. He's the one who looks like he has an upward trajectory and that he can go make a cracker at the rankings, whereas Fiziev's losing 3 losses in a row, 2 to the same guy, doesn't seem to really be himself. And he's not even that old. He's 32, but it feels like he's on the older side. It feels like he's 35 or 36. So for those reasons, I get it. I get why people are hype for Bahamondes, but I also feel like the market constantly gets him wrong, like constantly. Against Roosevelt Roberts, what was the line there? Because I was on him there. I just don't remember what the line was. So it was his second UFC fight. It was after he lost to McDessie. Right, he was an underdog to Roosevelt Roberts, which I thought was stupid. Played him there. And then, he goes off on a win streak. People get excited. And then he's fighting Ludovic Klein. And Ludovic was like plus 185. And I didn't think that made sense. So I played him. Klein. Cash there. And now he's on a run again. Everybody's getting hype about him again. I did back him against Jalen Turner when a lot of people were backing Turner. And I feel like I've been doing a pretty good job zigging when other people are zagging with Bahamondes. But, and I think this might be another spot. I just don't know, because I'm not dying to play Fiziev because of his recent form, but he's still elite. He's a really, really good striker. He's insanely fast. He's super dangerous in the pocket. His boxing's crazy. He's got really nice kicks too. The knockout over Renato Moicano was disgustingly good. It was a body headshot and just deaded him. The speed's nuts, like I said. He's got good power, and he's just a really good striker, and he's got some wrestling. His takedown defense is good. I don't see Bahamondes taking him down. And he's got some. He was able to take down Gaethje twice. He just didn't do much with it because he's not a grappler. I think he was just trying something to help him win the fight, which is good. You like to see that. It's just not a major weapon. So, while I think that's if anybody gets takedowns, I think it's probably Fiziev. I don't really think he's going to get that many takedowns, though. Maybe one. Bahamondes is pretty difficult to take down. He does threaten those front chokes, and if Fiziev shoots a sloppy shot in desperation, maybe a Bahamondes sub is even live. I don't hate that. What's the price on that? Bahamondes sub. Huh. Plus 900. That's not bad. Don't hate that. Don't think I'll play it, but I don't hate that. But yeah, so looking at it matchup, looking at it skill for skill, Bahamondes is probably going to give him problems with the reach, right? He's probably going to give him problems with the length. He uses it pretty well. His output is very good. He's a very clean striker in his own right. He's explosive. He also has really good kicks. So, if they're on the feet, Bahamondes needs to keep the distance, needs to maintain the range, which he does well. Fiziev, he's got to close that distance. He's got to crash the pocket. He's got to explode in. He's got to land his shots, and then he's got to get the hell out of there. But he can do that. And then, again, I don't really think the grappling is super in play. So as I'm talking to you guys, I'm trying to work this out because when I started the breakdown, I said I don't know who I'm going to fill in as the pick. I think I'm going to pick Balmondes, but I don't really want to, even though it's only slight chalk, only minus 130, minus 125 I'm seeing on DK, even lower on Pinnacle. So he's only a slight favorite. I don't really want to lay that when I think this is a step up. I do with Fiziev, even though Fiziev is on a downtrend. Like, it was Justin Gaethje twice and Gamrot, both really high-level guys at the top of the division. I'm not ready to just toss them away. So I'm not really dying to play the chalk, but I don't really know that I want to fade Balmondes either. You know, even though Fiziev is also fighting at home, I don't know that I want to do that. It's going to be dog or pass, I guess. Maybe on retape, I'm going to change my mind. Again, if you want my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, once everything's official, that's only going to be at the House of Stims Discord. You can get that through the description of this video. The link is there. If you can't find it or anything, just hit me up on Twitter or Instagram or Discord, and I can point you towards them. And that's where you'll find my bets if I do end up making a bet on this fight. All right. For now, we'll go Baja, and we'll go decision also. I actually don't hate the fight goes in that fight either. Oh, I keep forgetting to do this. Go back to the chat. This is what made me laugh earlier. I like that. Fiziev as a dog is a must play. I can understand. I can 100% understand. Once you get into the red zone of Balmondes, it gets crazy for him, and that's where Fiziev. Do you mean like in the pocket? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, Ignacio is good at keeping the distance. Balmondes got all the range, but only lost. That's actually facts, because the two guys he lost to were Klein, who's like 5'8", 5'9", but Klein mixed in the wrestling. You know, that was part of why he won. And then McDessie, who just not completely, it was close, but he outstruck him. It was like 120 to 118 or something. It was close, but yeah, funny enough, the two guys he lost to were small. We tossed away Usman last week and punished everyone. Yeah, I mean, that was a mistake from me. I literally said all week, I said Buckley would win. That's what I thought, but I said the line's wrong. I know that. I just can't do it because of Usman's knees. And then when he started cooking, I was kicking myself. I was like, man, what are you doing? Like, how do you pass up on that? And like, I literally tried to fade Buckley with Covington. Why the hell wouldn't I at least try one more time with Usman? You live and you learn, right? You have to. Balmondes for me, got him at plus 115 and minus 110. All right, plus money on Baja, I can respect 100%. Speed kills. Fiziev probably the faster guy. I think that's what Daz is talking about. Michael, if you're asking this, you're probably new to the show. I hate that word. I'm very, very what's the word when you're scared of jinx and stuff? Superstitious. I'm very superstitious, and I firmly believe that if you call something a lock, it's going to lose. So I never call anything a lock, and I don't really have anything that I'm extremely confident in. But yeah, I don't really have a lock for you. Not this week, brother. And even if I did, I can only give that out at the House of Stims. Yeah, that's what you meant. Gotcha. That's not how life works. Well, you can't convince me otherwise. All right, moving on. We got our main event. Let's talk about that. We got Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree Jr. This is a rebooking, I believe. Now, Hill, he's going to be 12-3-0. He's 34 years old, 6'4" with a 79-inch reach. Rountree Jr. on the other side, he's going to be 13-6-0, 35. He's 1 year older, going to be 3 inches shorter, and he's going to have a 2.5-inch reach disadvantage. So for me, it's Hill here. Definite dogger pass, and I am actually picking him to win. This is what it comes down to for me. I think Rountree's being mispriced just because he looked good against Pereira. I think that's the only reason. Nobody even gave him a chance against Pereira, and then he does well. And now he's a favorite over Hill, who has only lost to Pereira and Jiri. And well, he did lose to Paul Craig, but shit happens. I think, and we've seen it time and time again. How many times have we seen somebody outperformed their line. Let's say they were a plus 400 dog. They came into the fight and they looked like a plus 150 dog. So they looked good. They still lost. But then going into their next fight, all of a sudden they're a favorite because they looked good in a loss. Sometimes it works out. I think most of the time it does not work out. And that's how we get incorrect lines. And hopefully we can take advantage of them. And I think this is one of those. I don't think that Rountree's bad. I don't think that. I think he's a great striker. I think that at 35 years old, he looks better than he used to. Despite getting older, he actually looks better. And the performance against Pereira was probably the best he's ever looked, in my opinion. I never really rated him all that highly. I don't think he beat Dustin Jacoby. And it was 4 years ago or 5 years ago now, but he does have a loss to Marcin Prachniow, and he hasn't gotten any younger. He's only gotten older. So, and he looked horrible there, absolutely terrible. And he was like minus 300. So, like, he's a good striker, might even be a little bit cleaner than Hill. He's got good kicks, probably has the better kicks out of the two of them. And he's dangerous. He's dangerous. He does hit hard. And Hill does have that chin pretty high up. You know, the defense is not Hill's strong suit. Nobody's coming out here and saying Hill is elite defensively, because that's just not true. So Rountree can take advantage. Rountree could land some big shots, and Rountree could probably look pretty good early. And I will say, you know, it's fair to be concerned with Hill. He came into his last fight with double knee sleeves. We know that he's had surgeries and all kinds of issues, and that's been a problem. And that's probably part of the reason why he did not look like, I almost said he did not look great against Jiri, but low key, I was watching. I didn't think he looked terrible either. It's just Jiri looked a lot better too. Jiri's movement looked a lot better, and Hill had a hard time dealing with it. But even then, Hill had moments. Hill had moments where he was looking good in that fight, and that was with the injuries, with the double knee sleeves. And you know who we said oh my goodness, you know who we said the double knee sleeve stuff about? Kamaru Usman last week. He said the exact same thing. Worried about his knees, worried about the knee sleeves, and he cooked Buckley. Not saying this is the same at all. Hill doesn't have the same wrestling upside, but I'm just saying, if he's back, it's been a while now since the Jiri fight. It actually hasn't been. It's been 4 months. Been a while since the actual injury, though. And I think I think he's recovered. From what I can tell, from what I've heard, it appears that he's recovered. It appears that he's been training. I know that there were rumors going around that he was refusing to fly to Baku. If you saw that, just block those people. It was a complete lie. Like an hour later, somebody posted a screenshot of Hill literally walking out the airport. And I believe that he's going to be okay. That's my point. I think he's going to be all right. It is a little bit of guesswork, but luckily enough, he's not the favorite. If he was minus 150 and I had to guess if he was going to be okay or not, that would be a problem. As the underdog, when I think he's got overall the better skills and the better tools for this fight, I think that's the best way to say it. I'm okay to kind of do some guesswork. And then looking at everything else, yeah, Rountree's a good striker, and maybe technique-wise, he's a little bit cleaner. But I think Hill's really good on the feet. I think his jab is going to be money here. I know Hill's hittable, but so is Rountree. Rountree's very hittable. I think the jab's going to be there. The follow-ups, the 1-2 is going to be there. The 1-2 down the pipe. Talked about it earlier with Curtis Blades. Hill's just as good at it. And what Hill does really well is he uses that reach, but he also extends a bit because he's tall as hell. So he's actually even able to get even longer with his strikes and hit people from even further away. He's got much higher output. Over 5 rounds, I think that's going to favor Hill big time. I think he's going to just throw a lot more. And as the fight goes, I think he's going to start to separate more and more if it doesn't finish early. And I actually think it's not going to finish early. I think it's going to go later. Now, fair enough, I've picked a decision, I think, for all the fights except one. So I'll probably be wrong on a few. But I do think this fight's going to go later, and I think that favors Hill. And I think the 5 rounds certainly favors him. I think that his cardio is better. I think that his output is better. He's the one who I've seen go 5. He's the one who I've seen go 5 and land 240 significant strikes and stuff a ton of takedowns from a very dangerous grappler. I know Glover's old, but he was still getting it done. He was beating Jiri before he got submitted in the 5th round. So, yeah, and like with Hill was really struggling with Jiri because he couldn't find him. He couldn't find him because Jiri, for once in his lifetime, finally said, you know what? It's time for defense. It's time to start moving my head. And Hill was really struggling with Jiri's movement because it was very unorthodox and it was very good. Khalil doesn't do that. Khalil barely moves. He's flat-footed for the most part, and he's going to be right there to hit. So I don't think Hill's going to struggle with that. And another thing I want to mention is I noticed with the Pereira fight, Pereira wasn't using his long-range weapons early. And I believe that's why Rountree had so much success. Because early on, Pereira's got the same reach as Hill does. And we know that he can strike relatively long. He doesn't necessarily extend like Hill does, but he can strike long too. But he wasn't doing it. He was only really throwing when he was getting up close to Rountree, and that was allowing Rountree to also have his range and be able to reach Pereira and land his shots. Hill's not going to do that. Hill's going to use his range. He always does. He's not going to just go into the pocket and trade with Rountree. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, it'll happen a few times. It's inevitable. They're going to eventually crash into each other. They'll be in the pocket. They'll throw, and then they'll get out, or someone will fall. But overall, I think Hill's going to actually use his reach, and I think he's not really going to let Rountree, bank those early rounds, kind of like Pereira did. So for me, it's Hill. Once again, I'm going to lean towards the decision, but I'm going to recognize that he 100% can knock out Rountree. I just think Rountree's really tough, but Rountree could probably knock him out too. So I totally understand people playing unders and all that good stuff. And all right, that's it. I'm going to catch up with the chat. Then we're going to do the parlay thing we talked about. Now, anybody who tuned in recently, I'll tell you about it. And yeah, so first let's go through the comments. Let's see. Scared of Hill's leg injuries. His kicks looked very poor last fight. Kind of looping and unclean. Think the injury removes his best volume tool across 5 rounds. Yeah, I guess it really all comes down to whether he's good or not, By good, I mean like the knees, not skill-wise. He is good. No idea why people say on Hill. Yeah, I don't know why people hate Hill either. I think he's cool. Hill movement is what's holding me back. Not sure he's fully back off the Achilles. I'm pretty, from what I've read, for athletes who have, access to really good facilities and doctors and all that stuff, a year is, enough is what I read. I don't know if that's true. I'm not a doctor. Certainly not even close. But I think he's okay, personally. That's my guess. Bet on Hill last time against Jiri. Me too. Felt like an idiot. Me too. Didn't expect that head movement from Jerry either. Neither did I. But I think this is your first time here, Leah DeGrone. Good to see you. Jackson. What's up, Jackson? Thank you. Let's see. Full card decision. Should that be the lotto? Then we're talking big money. Nah, that would be too crazy. I got to be wrong on a couple of them. Otherwise, the fans are going to be pissed if they get 11 decisions. I'm just watching MMA, no bet, and I always want fight not to go to this. Well, that makes a lot of sense if you're watching for fun. Unless it's a really cool fight, and it would be fine if it just went all 15. I'm going off of I'm going off of basketball. It took them 2 years to be fully back, and even then, they aren't their full selves. Well, that's good to know. I know nothing about basketball. That's also true. It would be a very late night if we got 11 decisions, especially with the 25-minute 5-rounder up here. But all right, guys, that's it. I'm going to run through the picks, and then we're going to do the parlay. So picks, we're going to go Hamdy, very little confidence. Tagir, but dog or pass. Alekseeva, Mullins, but dog or pass. Park, but dog or pass. Elliot, but dog or pass. Sorry, but I know some of you guys don't love when I do this, but it is what it is. Grad, picking him straight up. I did that, right? Yeah. We're going to go Sadykhov, Orolbai, but dog or pass. Blades, but dog or pass. We're going to pick Bahamondes for now, and we're going to pick Hill for the main event. All right, now, if you tuned in late and you didn't hear me earlier, we're going to do something a little different today. I have my bachelor party this weekend. I want to give the boys a parlay. Thought it would be fun if I came up with you guys. So I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds now in the live chat. Throw out your favorite parlay leg in there. Try to make it good odds. Don't give me a minus 400. Give me at least plus 200 or higher. Don't go too crazy either because we can't really do that. But throw in your legs. I'll pick a couple. We'll make the parlay. And then if it hits, I'm going to do the wheel spin. I'm going to take all your names in the live chat, put it in there. And if you win, I'll give you 10% of the profit from the lotto ticket that I place. So put in your bets now, or your parlay legs rather, and I'll wait patiently. If you need odds, pull up fightodds.io. Park decision, I can pull it up for you in the meantime. It is plus 150 on Bet Online. One leg. Max, I'm going to do grad decision for my leg, but we could think about the Blades TKO KO. Let's see what else we got. This I like, Jackson. This I like. Let me open up a parlay calculator while we do this. All right. So I know grad right now is plus 500 on the decision. For now, I'm using Bet Online odds because not many domestics have lines yet. And then if we go Nazim decision, that's going to be plus 250. So that's going to bring us to plus 2,000. And all right, we need one more plus money line, and that should give us some nice odds for a lotto. Because plus 2,000 is good, but I wouldn't call it a lotto. I'll call that a scratch off. Smaller win. I don't know. I'm like not super feeling the Blades knockout. You're the second person to say it, so if you guys keep saying it, I'll do it. Oh, but the odds suck. It's plus 125. That's not even good. Mullins decision. It's also going to be crap. Let me see. Plus 185. All right. What does that bring us to if we do Mullins? Okay. That's lotto-ish. Fizia Bahamondes fight goes. Let me look. What's the line there? Not so I like it, but it's not going to get us to where we want to be odds wise. It's minus 135. Yeah, not where I want to be. Let's see. Sadykhov ITD. We're already doing Sadykhov decision, so that doesn't matter. I don't hate Orolbai decision for the third leg. Okay, how about this? I'll narrow it down to what you guys, two things, and you guys tell me now. Can I make a poll? Is that a thing? Let me see if I can make a poll. That would be sick. No, I don't see how. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do either Melissa Mullins decision plus 185 or Orolbai decision plus 200. I rather Mullins because I might end up on a Musayev money line play. But if more of you guys say Orolbai decision, then we'll do that. I'll give it another 30 seconds. Let me know if you have a preference. And if not, we'll do Mullins. We're narrowing it down to Mullins decision or Orolbai decision. So pick one of those. Any day now, guys. I know, but the odds are not that great. Jackson saying Orolbai. But Tafik is good, man. He's good. See, that's what would really hurt. If we end up putting Mullins decision, then Darya pulls it off. All right, well, that's one Orolbai, two Orolbais. I guess we have to do Orolbai. All right, screw it. Let's do it. So Orolbai by decision is plus 200. So with our three picks, we have my pick. I went Grad decision. Then you guys said Nazim decision. And then we have Orolbai decision. Those three put together give you odds of plus 6,200. It's going to be a little bit different once the domestics are open. Might be a little bit better or a little bit worse. And then that $25 on that, which is what I'm going to put on it, is going to win you $1,550. So if you left a comment in the live stream, if this hits, and you win on the wheel spinner, I'll send you $150. That's what we're going to do. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I'm going to put out my shorts tomorrow, and that's going to be it for me this week. I'm going to be away on Thursday, and I'm not really going to be around. But thank you guys all for tuning in. We got 772 of you watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment on whatever platform you're watching. Really appreciate you, and good luck this weekend. Let's get it, guys.